Well, hey YouTube, Ben Potter here, and in today's video, I'm going to try and see if I can make my Line6 HX Stomp sound like my Fender Blues Jr. Now, part of the reason why I'm trying this is just the personal challenge to see if I can do it, but I think that there's a lot of other practical reasons why having a patch that sounds like my amp could be really helpful. So right now my HX Stomp is sitting at the end of my pedal board, and typically I play through my Blues Jr. and I'm just using it for effects. But then sometimes late at night, if I want to practice, I can plug headphones into it. It's at the end of my pedal board, so I can put on some amp modeling. I'm still running all of my other effects into it, and I can use it as kind of a headphone amp. I also plan to take it to church, where I play also, and we have a quiet stage, so I have to go direct to house, so I'll use the amp modeling and stuff on the HX Stomp then as well, to kind of be my amp in that setup. So I think that having a patch that sounds like my amp could be beneficial for if I'm practicing late at night. I can have a patch that sounds like my amp. If I take my amp somewhere for a jam or something and something happens and it stops working, whether a tube goes or something like that, I can switch to these patches where I have amp modeling that sounds like my amp and go direct out, and I've got the same sound. So I think there's several practical applications for that. Now, what made this a little bit tricky is the fact that the HX Stomp does not have an amp model in it based on the Fender Blues Jr. So I had to kind of find what amp model and cabinet set I thought would work the best. So I chose the 112 cab. I think it's the one that they pair with the Fender Blues Deluxe. It's a 112 cab that I used, and then I compared two low wattage Fender amps that are modeled in the HX Stomp, the Fender Champ and the Blues Deluxe, and I found that the Fender Champ kind of got me the closest. So I chose that amp model. I chose the 112 cab because the Blues Jr. has a 112 cab. I chose an SM57 mic because I have an SM57 mic that I mic up my Blues Jr. with. And basically what I did was I played through and recorded my amp with the SM57 and then played through with the HX Stomp, and basically just kept doing that back and forth, tweaking the HX Stomp patch until I got it as close as I could. I started with the Strat and did it with my Strat first, then I switched to the Les Paul and it sounded different. So I did have to create a separate patch for the Les Paul than I did with the Strat in order for them to sound the same, which sort of makes sense because I'm not using a model of the Blues Jr. I'm using a model of Fender Champ, so it would make sense that it would react a little bit differently to hotter pickups in the Les Paul than my amp would. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play through both guitars. I'm going to use my Strat and my Les Paul. I'm going to play through each pickup selection on both guitars, and I'm going to play a section clean with that pickup, and then I'm going to play a section with some overdrive pedals going into both the pod and the HX Stomp, so you can hear how the HX Stomp, going through both the HX Stomp and the Fender Blues Jr. I've used a Pod HD500 for the last 5 years, so that's kind of still in my brain. So I'm going to play through clean and then with some overdrive pedals through both the HX Stomp and the Blues Jr. so you can hear the difference in how they're reacting to pedals as well. And I will do that with both guitars. The way that I'm routing the signal is I have my guitar going through my pedal board into the HX Stomp. I have I believe it's the left output going into my Ditto looper and then out to my Fender Blues Jr. just because that's my normal pedal board setup, but the Ditto looper isn't going to be used in this video. And then the Fender Blues Jr. is being mic'd with the SM57 and going into input 1 on my PreSonus audio box interface. And then I'm taking 1/4 inch out of the right output on the HX Stomp and going into input 2 on the PreSonus interface. On the actual patches, both the Strat patch and the Les Paul patch, the first couple effect blocks, I have a delay and then I think a tremolo. The tremolo I'm not going to use, the delay I might. After those two effects, I have the signal chain splits. Then it's an A-B split, and path A continues through and goes to the amp modeling. So it goes through the Fender amp model, the 112 cabinet, and then a spring reverb model at the end, because the Blues Jr has spring reverb in it, and then goes out of the right output into the PreSonus interface. The other side of the signal goes through a EQ effect on the HX Stomp that is basically just I'm basically just using it as a low pass filter to shave off the top end of my Blues Jr. That's something that I do with all of my patches that I use with my amp, because the Jensen speaker that's in the Tweed Blues Jr is really bright. So I have a low pass filter to shave off that low end, and I think I have it set at 12K. Before I got the HX Stomp, I was using a Danelectro Fish and Chips EQ pedal to basically do the same thing. So the B signal path is going through that that low pass filter, and then going out of the left output into my Blues Jr. When you look at when I show you the pedal board, which I'll have a view of the pedal board on when I do the playing, I have plugged into the controller input on the HX Stomp. I have this one's mine mini fixed expression pedal that is going to switch between the path A and path B, and there's a little light on that pedal. I'll show you when I show you the pedal board. When the light is off, I'll be going through the Blues Jr. When the light is on, it'll be going through the amp modeling, and you'll be hearing the HX Stomp. So I'm going to play a little bit and just switch back and forth. So I got these as close as I could. Obviously, you can sit there and tweak for days, and tweak for, it might make a difference, it might not. You might be able to get it closer, it might start getting further. You can kind of tweak back and forth until you're till you get frustrated with it. So I tried to get these as close as I could. I'm happy with them, and so I'm going to go ahead and play through, and then I'm going to listen back to the recording, and then I will come back at the end and kind of share my thoughts. So thanks for watching. All right, so here is my pedal board. This foot switch right here is the mini fixed expression pedal. So you can see when the light is off, I'm going through the Blues Jr. And when the light is on, I'm going through the HX Stomp. To prove that to you, I'm going to leave the camera mic on, so you're hearing the sound of the room, and I have my studio monitors off, so there's no monitoring for the HX Stomp right now. So here is the sound of the guitar through the amp, and now when I go through the HX Stomp, we're not going to hear anything because the studio monitors aren't on, but that just proves that it is not going through the amp when that green light is on. Alright, so here is the neck pickup on the Strat. I'm going to start clean. Here's the same thing with some drive from the OCD. Alright, here is position 4, so this is neck and middle pickup through the Blues Jr. And here it is with some drive from the Analogman printed tone. I'm going to turn on some delay with the HX Stomp, but the delay model is in front of the split, so it's going to go through both amp and through the amp model on the HX Stomp. Okay, here is the middle position on the Strat, so middle pickup by itself. Kick the delay off. And here's that same thing with some overdrive from the Chellee Guitars Odie Overdrive. Alright, here is position 2, so this is the bridge pickup and the middle pickup together. I'm going to put some delay on for these. And with some overdrive, we'll go back to the Odie again. Alright, and here is the bridge pickup by itself. And here it is again with some distortion from the JHS AT Plus. That is the Andy Timmons signature pedal. And one more test I'm going to do is with the Analogman NKT Red Dot SunFace, also on the bridge pickup, just so you can kind of see how it reacts to some fuzz as well. So first thing I'm going to do is bend down and turn on my fuzz face pedal, and then I will go ahead and play a little bit with that as well. Alright, so that concludes the Strat portion of the video. I'm now going to switch over to my Les Paul and do the same thing. Alright, so here we are with the Les Paul. You can see, if you can read the screen on the HX Stomp, I've switched to my Les Paul patch. So we're going to do the same thing. I am on the neck pickup. I'll play clean, and then I will play with some overdrive, and I'll do the same thing with the other positions as well. So here is the neck pickup clean. And same thing with some dirt from the OCD. Alright, now on the middle position, so both pickups together, and use a little bit of delay. And with some overdrive from the Odie. Alright, and here we are on the bridge pickup, clean by itself. let's do that same thing with the Andy Timmons pedal. Here we go. All right, so thanks for listening. I'm going to go and listen back to everything, and then I'll do a quick recap of my final thoughts on it, and I hope you enjoyed. All right, so I've listened back to the audio, and I think some of the pickup positions on some of the guitars sounded closer than others. I thought position 4 on the Strat sounded pretty close. I thought that the neck pickup and the middle position on the Les Paul clean sounded pretty close. I think there was a little bit more variance when you added the overdrive pedals. I think overall, I think the Les Paul was probably a little bit closer than the Strat. I did kind of a last minute tweak on the Strat sound, and I kind of turned some of the mids down, thinking that might help it get a little bit closer. And listening back now, I think it might have actually made it a little bit further apart. So again, I could probably, keep tweaking the Strat tone a little bit more and get it even a little bit closer if I wanted to. But I think overall, I thought that it was pretty close, especially considering that the amp model that I'm using in the HX Stomp is not the same as the amp that I'm actually using. So I hope that this was interesting for you. Please leave any comments that you might have down in the description below. Some of you may have noticed after the position 2 on the Strat and the bridge pickup on the Strat, one of the cables on my board changed. I actually went to the bridge pickup and started playing and lost a lot of audio, and so I kind of had to chase down a little rabbit trail and found a bad cable. So if you noticed that change, that's why. You also saw that the fuzz pedal, the knob was on and then it was off, and then I had to turn it on again when I played it with the Strat. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you found this interesting, and please continue looking at my channel for some more videos with the HX Stomp and maybe some other stuff with some other pedals in the Blues Jr. So if you have any suggestions for anything you'd like to see, let me know. Thanks. Bye.